against Manchester United last March. It was Bob's 12th and final appearance at Wembley. And it was an absolute beautiful gesture, one of real feeling, when the players asked him to collect the trophy. It's the first time a manager has ever done that. League Cup or Milk Cup, you can call it what you like. I just know Bob lapped it up. And in 3 successive seasons, by hell, that's some hat-trick. It's always fascinated me how Liverpool have managed to let players leave the club without causing just a little ripple. A star drops out, but the team keeps on winning. John Toshak went with his bag full of medals. So did Ray Clemence, a goalkeeper. I rated second only to Peter Shilton. Then Ray Kennedy, always a key figure, also moved on. More recently, Terry McDermott, another of the club's many internationals. He was sent on his way. Again, there was no outcry. He's done a lot of brilliant transfer business. I calculate he spent £5.5 million on 25 players over 9 years. He's had outstanding success, like Phil Neal, his first major signing in October 1974. Alan Hansen, a snip from Scotland at 100,000. Kenny Dalglish, the most outstanding buy in the summer of 1977. Sue Ness from Middlesbrough, and a lad called Mark Lawrenson. By hell, I wish I could have afforded him 2 years ago. They make many of their signings 12 months before they need them. And if they come off earlier in the first team, that's the bonus. Look at these faces from the Liverpool senior squad in 1974. You won't recognise any of them in this year's team picture, and they're still winning trophies. Bob has changed it all around. If anything, he's improved the quality. He's always bought the best, and the money's been made available to back his judgment. He sold 35 players and picked up £3.5 million in fees. So he's £2 million down on his deals. It's a cheap price to pay for success. Some clubs have spent more than that to be failures in half the time. I've competed for several players, the most recent being Craig Johnson. He signed for Bob. We'll always remember Bob as a winner, but even he suffered the odd setback. We're mostly lousy losers, but he's worse than that. Fortunately, he didn't lose that often.
I'm the worst loser in the game, really. Not, you can say, I mean, Shank was and all, but in our different ways, there wasn't a heap of the difference between us. Like, we might have reacted differently, but inwardly, we were both feeling the same. And the only thing possibly we had in common is that we wanted to win, and we were too bad losers.
Now Nunes. Zico demanding the ball, and Liverpool allow him to get it. And he's put Nunes in the clear here, and he scored.
The Brazilian skills of Flamengo and their star player Zico were too much for Liverpool in the World Club Championship in 1981. But you still won't convince Bob that his team were 3 goals inferior out there in Japan. I sympathise. We made that long trip to Tokyo the year before and also lost. That tiring trip is no picnic. Not if you're expecting players to be at their peak. But I don't fancy that defeat left him feeling as badly as in 1977. Tommy Docherty's Manchester United pipped him after he'd led Liverpool to the FA Cup final and a bid for the only prize he needed to have swept up everything. But Bob's contribution to football has been acknowledged. He was awarded the OBE and has stepped up to receive the Manager of the Year award 5 times. And when you count up all his monthly awards as well, he must have won enough whiskey to flood the Mersey Tunnel. Now his adopted city of Liverpool have acknowledged Bob's deeds. They plan to give him the freedom of the city. The Lord Mayor's a keen football fan, so he was absolutely delighted to pass on his personal congratulations. I think Bob would have retired earlier but for the team's continued success. In fact, I thought he might have considered packing in when Forest beat Liverpool in the European Cup. But he bounced back again. The death of Bill Shankly in 1981 was upsetting for everyone who knew, admired and loved the man. Bob's always enjoyed good health, but at the start of this season, he had cause to consider his future.
We went on the pre-season tour, and that, and I got a little bit of a virus, as it turned out. And they told me what it was and that, and something to the medial ear and that, and I was just off balance for a few weeks, and at the time it was frightening. I thought, well, you know, if you're going to be like that, it is. And then that sort of encouraged me to say, well, you know, get someone new. But it was right what they said. If you want to get players, you know, if you're looking ruthless enough to change players and that, and then you've got to look at yourself and say, you know, don't go beyond your limits, like.
Now Bob has a new problem. What does he do with the time on his hands? We all know he likes horse racing, but even a hobby can become a bit of a bore if you have too much of it. What's running through his mind now?
It's the only thing that I've ever done in my life, and when I was a youngster, I can go back to about 5-year-old, and that, and when the new year was being put in, you know, they was doing well. I stayed up to let the new year in, and I was kicking the ball. And this was a sign in the northeast that if you kick the ball through the new year, you'll be kicking it for the rest of your life. I've just got to sort of take it as it comes. I looked at I was out yesterday and getting some stuff for the wife for the garden, and that went down at the marketing place there, and you know, and I thought, well, football's better than this. But
he left the manager's job in typical fashion, stretching Liverpool's record of league title wins to 14 and adding the championship trophy to the Milk Cup his team took last March. It's reassuring to know he'll win naught else. Good luck, Robert.
You don't even dream about these things. I'm quite sure of that. I don't know what I've won now, really. No way, no way. You don't even dream about it.